You try to give something to somebody and the person doesn't like it. That's a rejection. We get rejected all the time. It's not rejection, but it's the root of rejection that causes us to be affected. It's not the rejection that destroys you. It's the root of rejection that destroys us. Because we will always be rejected. In every way, everywhere, will always be rejection. Have you tried to approach somebody and they have said no to you? You try to date someone and they say no to you? You try to make an appointment and they say they're too busy? That's a rejection. You try to sell something to somebody and they don't want it? That's a rejection. You try to give something to somebody and the person doesn't like it? That's a rejection. We get rejected all the time. It's not rejection, but it's the root of rejection that causes us to be affected in an adverse, bad way whenever a rejection happens. But if you have no reason, you don't have a root of rejection, then come as it may, whatever times and however many times that people reject you and say no to you, you're not moved. You say, fine, it's all right. No problem, because there is no root of rejection. The root of rejection will cause us to view everything as a rejection. And in turn, we will pass on rejection to people. Listen, when there is a root of bitterness, when there is a root of rejection, what happens to you? One is, the person may react in wanting to always perform and be perfect. Always be able to try and struggle to meet up with the expectations of people all the time, no matter who they are. No matter whether they respect these people or honor these people or value these people. They just always want to say yes. They always want to please everybody. And there is another group that will react in another way. They will react in a way and says, I can't meet up to those expectations. And I am so sad and I keep getting rejected all the time. I'll just let go, let loose. I just let it drop. I don't care anymore. Do what you want. Think however you want of me. I don't care anymore. And so you let yourself go. You see yourself as that there's nothing else that you care for. You just shut down and just give up the fight. There is a root of rejection inside. And he says Esau and Jacob was this way. Esau, you know, Esau was an amazing guy. Esau was born with the best. Because the difference between Esau and Jacob was quite a lot. To the favor of Esau, not to the favor of Jacob. And that why did he care less and see no value in who he is and what he's got and what is given to him and set apart for him? He didn't care because there was a root of rejection. You see, Esau was the firstborn. What does it mean, the firstborn? The firstborn means he gets twice the inheritance. Every firstborn in a Hebrew family will get twice the inheritance. They get to earn, they get to go up and take the place of the patriarch of the tribe or of the family. They become the head of the family after the passing of the father. That's Esau. Esau was the firstborn with the birthright. But yet he never saw himself this way. Yeah, Esau when he was born, he was hairy. Not Elder Harry Tan. He was Hairy. He was hairy. He was full of hair. And he was red. He was born hairy, and so therefore he was called Esau, which means hairy. But you say, well, what a name. I don't know about that name. But you know what was his brother called? His brother was called a deceiver. What would you like to be called if you have this choice of one or the other? You want to be called Harry or deceiver? Yeah, it's okay. That's groovy too. So he was hairy, but this guy was a deceiver. Everybody that calls him from the street, across the street, in the school, in the class, in tent, between the tents, deceiver. Hairy sounds a lot better. So Esau's got the better side, the better part of things. Esau was known as a skilled hunter, but Jacob was written as, you see all that in Genesis 25. Go back and read it. Esau was the skilled hunter. Jacob was plain. He was plain. A guy, very plain. All right, you may like it, but in that day, when they live in the desert and hunt in the forest, and have to do everything with their hands, he was skillful. This guy was plain. And also it says about Esau that he was someone that was very an outdoor guy, a rugged guy. And then it was said about Jacob that he was a quiet guy. So this guy was really everything, a male factor, a boy. But this guy was plain and quiet. Jacob. Also said about him in Genesis chapter 25 that Esau was his father's favorite. His father's. Now in those days the father is right up at the top. The first say, the final say. Got all the say. He was the father's favorite. Jacob, what about Jacob? Jacob was mommy's pet. He was mommy's pet. And I tell you, when they come back together and all the boys and girls came together, Jacob was mommy's pet. And Esau was father's favorite. And it was said that one will be a stronger nation, a stronger people than the other. I don't know who is stronger, but I think Esau was stronger. Grew up to be stronger and more muscular. Esau's got so much, and Jacob had so little. But there was one thing that was said before he was born, before they both were born. He says that the younger will rule over the elder. I don't know how that got passed down. I don't know how mommy said it as to her pet. I don't know. And it was always lingering, it was always over his head, it was always over his thought, and it was always over everything in his growing up, that his younger brother, his brother is going to ride on top of him, or stand on top of him, or sit on top of him and rule over him. And until he let go, he let loose, he gave up, he turned around and he threw everything down. And even his birthright, he sold it for a bowl of bean soup. That's how terrible a root of bitterness, a root of rejection can bring us. And we need to be free from it. There is a heritage that's given to us. There are the promises of God that is given to us. And we don't want to be forfeited because of the root of bitterness or the root of rejection. We want to be able to ride above all these things because rejection is a way of life. When you walk out of this place, you accept or reject some things. When I bring this word today to you, you can accept it or you can reject it. What does it do to me? Why is it that we have to get hooked up with this Facebook link and all this to Twitter and all that. I need to get the likes. Oh, I'm not liked. Oh my goodness, you posted it yesterday, 2 days ago. Nobody liked it. I got to post it. How can I post it to another 1,000, 10,000? I got to get them out. And oh, I got liked. Oh, I got somebody said a comment. Somebody said this. And oh, it's gone on. It's gone up somewhere. And it makes you so excited. We got to get accepted this way because we fear rejection so bad that we end up picking up things that will just vaporize or become dust to us, and the things that will become treasure and become richer and stronger and better for us, we let them go, and we catch the wind and catch nothing. I pray for every one of you. I pray that you will rise up on the inside with a holy aggression that I want to deal with the root of rejection, and I want to kill it today and get rid of it from my life so that I will not miss any blessings of God and the inheritance that He has given to me. How do we get free from the root of rejection? He says, get new roots. Be rooted in what? Not in rejection anymore, but be rooted in the love of Christ. Be rooted and grounded in love, that you may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and the length and the depth and the height, and to know the love of Christ, which passes knowledge, that you might be filled with all the fullness of God, that you may know the love of Christ. Oh, it's time for you to know that this is worth knowing. The love of Christ, the knowledge of God's love is worth knowing. It's worth you giving up every agenda. It's worth you giving up everything that you push. It's worth giving up every kind of ideology, philosophy, thinking, school of thoughts. It's worth giving them up so that you come into the knowledge of the love of God, that your roots will be rooted in His love.